तो लास्ट क्लास में अपन ने देखा था कि अपन ने प्रियम्बल देख लिया था। प्रियम्बल के साथ साथ अपन ने जो प्रियम्बल्स में टर्म मेंशन है वो टर्म को एनालिसिस किया था। उसके बाद प्रियम्बल कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन का पार्ट है कि नहीं, इस पर डिस्कशन हुआ था कि जो केशवानंद भारती केस आया था, केशवानंद भारती में सरकार में कोर्ट ने बोला था कि ये प्रियम्बल इट्स नॉट अ पार्ट ऑफ कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन ऑफ इंडिया। फिर आया री बेरोबरी केस। इसमें जो है पार्लियामेंट जो है स्टेट बोलती है कि ये इट्स अ पार्ट ऑफ कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन ऑफ इंडिया। फिर अपन ने देखा था कि केशवानंद भारती केस आया था, इसमें सरकार सुप्रीम कोर्ट ने बोला कि ये पार्ट ऑफ कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन प्रियम्बल इज द पार्ट ऑफ कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन ऑफ इंडिया। नाउ लेट्स डिस्कस फर्दर इन now will deal with the constitution. So now, as we have told in the previous class that part one of the Indian Constitution is deal with the union and its territory. Basically, Article 1 to 4 deal with part one. So I have told you, मैंने पहले बताया आपको कि अपने कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन में टोटल पार्ट 22 है। 22 पार्ट्स में पहला पार्ट जो है वो यूनियन इट्स टेरिटरी, यूनियन एंड इट्स टेरिटरी है, जिसमें आर्टिकल 1 से लेके 4 तक। अब आर्टिकल 1 एक बार ज़रा देखते हैं। आर्टिकल 1 कहता क्या है? आर्टिकल 1 कहता है नेम एंड टेरिटरी ऑफ इंडिया। तो बेसिकली आर्टिकल 1 जो अपन को बता रहा है वो नेम ऑफ द इंडियन स्टेट क्या बता रहा है, जरा ध्यान से देखना। इंडिया दैट इज भारत शैल बी अ यूनियन ऑफ स्टेट्स। तो द नेम ऑफ इंडिया इज इंडिया और भारत, पहली बात। ये चीज तो आर्टिकल 1 में बोल। अब आर्टिकल 1 जो है, इससे अपन को एक बात और मालूम चल रही है कि बोला शैल बी द यूनियन ऑफ स्टेट्स। बेसिकली इंडिया is union of states. What is the meaning of union of states? I have told you earlier that in India the constitution has made first, then state will exist. While in the contrast with the USA, the state has formed earlier, then on the behalf of state the constitution has been derived. So the basic difference is in India constitution exist first, then state exist. यूएसए में क्या प्रोविजन है? यूएसए में फर्स्ट स्टेट एग्जिस्ट, देन कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन। ओके, सो बेसिकली जो स्टेट्स इंडिया में एग्जिस्ट हुए वो कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन के हिसाब से एग्जिस्ट हुए, जबकि यूएसए में कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन डेराइव हुआ स्टेट्स के हिसाब से। तो इंडिया में सुप्रीम बॉडी कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन है, वाइल इन द यूएसए सुप्रीम स्टेट्स, डेराइव करने वाले स्टेट्स। इतनी बात क्लियर है। तो बेसिकली इन इंडिया इज नॉट रिजल्ट ऑफ एग्रीमेंट ऑफ स्टेट्स। जबकि यूएसए में क्या सिस्टम है? यूएसए में है यूएसए इज रिजल्ट ऑफ एग्रीमेंट ऑफ स्टेट। क्लियर है? तो ये आर्टिकल 1 अपन को बता। नाउ आगे बढ़े। आगे अगर आर्टिकल 1+2 बोले पढ़े तो state and its territory thereof shall be as specified in the first schedule। तो आर्टिकल 1+2 क्या बोलता है? आर्टिकल 1+2 कह रहा है आर्टिकल 1+2 कह रहा है कि भाई जो नेम ऑफ द स्टेट है, द स्टेट्स एंड इट्स टेरिटरी। तो बेसिकली states and territory are mentioned in schedule 1 of the constitution. तो schedule क्या होता है? तो basically name and its territory are mentioned in the schedule 1 of the constitution of India. Now let's discuss what is the schedule. So basically in our constitution the schedule has been provided, but it's not a part of constitution of India. Schedule is not a part of constitution of India. It's like as annexer of the constitution of India. So now let's discuss first what is the schedule. What is the schedule? Basically schedule is not part of constitution of India. It is like annexer of constitution. But why it has been introduced? Because to reduce, to decrease the burden of constitution of India, therefore need extra provisions, therefore schedule derived. Clear it, people? Now as we have discussed, schedule 1 is talked about territory and name of the state. Why the schedule needed? I have already discussed, to reduce the burden of the states, to reduce the burden of the Constitution of India. So it's not a part of Constitution of India, but it can be used as a effective manner when its joins, when its provisions read along with the Constitution of India. Let us discuss how. Because in the article first, as we have discussed, the schedule, the states and its territory are mentioned in the schedule 1 of the Constitution of India. But now article schedule 1 contains the provision regarding to territory and a name of the states. What schedule 2? Schedule 2 talks about salaries. Basically we write the schedule not in the format of 1 and 2. We write the schedule in the format of like this: schedule 1, schedule 2. So schedule 2 talks about the salaries and expenses and allowance to various constitutional posts. Now what the schedule 3? Schedule 3 talks about oath and affirmation of various constitutional posts. Schedule 4 talks about representation of states in Council of States, Rajya Sabha. And similarly schedule 5 talks about and schedule 5 and along with schedule 6. Schedule 5 talks about the tribal areas. Basically schedule 5 talks about the administration of tribal areas or scheduled areas except Assam, Tripura, Meghalaya and Mizoram. And schedule 6 also talks about tribal areas which has been excluded in the schedule 5 has been added in the schedule 6. So basically it's also talks about administration of tribal areas of Assam, Mizoram, Meghalaya, and Tripura. So they for these areas the extra provisions had been made in the Schedule 6 areas because these tribal areas are very sensitive areas. So they have to provide extra provisions to these areas, to provide extra advantage to these areas, to provide extra activity, to provide extra protection, to provide extra advantage to these areas to survive the tribal status, to survive its own culture, to survive its own method of living in these areas. Now, so what is the purpose? What is the purpose to maintain? So purpose is to maintain to maintain and preserve and preserve the culture and identity of Constitution of India. That's the basically Schedule 6. Now, Schedule 7 talks about Schedule 7 talks about matters. Basically, list has been provided. List has been provided. So in the Schedule 7, 3 list has been given. List 1, list 2, list 3. List 1 include those matters where union can make laws. List 2 is known as the where the states can make laws, and list 3 the concurrent list where state and union both can make laws. So list 1 on include matters where union can make laws. ये मैटर इसमें स्टेट लॉज बना सकती है, ये मैटर जो बोथ स्टेट एंड यूनियन both can make laws. Now, Schedule 7. Now, Schedule 8 also is there. Now, Schedule 8. Schedule 8 talks about list. Schedule 8 talks about language of union. Schedule talks language of union. What will be the language? What is the official language? What is the language used in the administrative purpose? So all these provisions has been taught in the Schedule 8 of the Constitution. Now originally in the Constitution there are 8 schedules. Now currently there are 12 schedules in the Constitution of India, but all extra schedule has been added by the Constitutional Amendment Act, not by the Constitution, because it's not a part of Constitution of India. Schedules are not the part of Constitution of India, therefore no need to amend the Constitution of India while adding or by removing any provisions in the schedule of the Constitution of India. So if you have to make the schedule, then you have to go only with the ordinary law. You need not to go with the constitutional law under the Article 368 Constitution of India. Now, Schedule 9, it has been added by the first Constitutional Amendment Act. What is Schedule 9 talks about? Schedule 9 contains the list of law. It contains list of law. Schedule 10 also added, and Schedule 10 talks about anti-defection law. And Schedule 11 also has been added by the Constitutional Amendment Act, and it's talk about list of functions that may be assigned to panchayat by state. And Schedule 12 contains list of functions that may assigned to municipalities by the state. So basically there are 12 schedules. Schedule 1 talks about union and its territory and name of the states. Schedule 2 talks about salaries, allowance, expenses of the constitutional post, various constitutional posts. Schedule 3 talks about oath and affirmation of the constitution post. Schedule 4 talks about representation of states in the Constituent Council of State. Schedule 5 talks about Schedule 5 and Schedule 6 both talks about the tribal areas administration, but in the Schedule 5, tribal areas except tribal areas except Assam, Mizoram, Tripura, Meghalaya. The administration except Assam, Meghalaya, Tripura, Mizoram has been mentioned in the Schedule 5, and the tribal areas of Assam, Meghalaya, Tripura, Mizoram has been mentioned in the Schedule 6 areas. So basically both talks about the Schedule area. Now, so therefore special provisions can be made for the Schedule 5 and Schedule 6 areas. Now, Schedule 6 has been discussed. Schedule 7 talks about the list of matter on which union can make law, on which state can make law, on which both can make laws. Now, Schedule 8 talks about language of union. Schedule 10 talks about anti-defection law. Schedule 11 talks about the function of the function of the panchayat which has been assigned by the state, and Schedule 12 talks about the functions of the municipalities which has been assigned by the state. Now we have discussed all the schedule in the rough basis, what in which schedule what has been mentioned in which schedule. Again, I am repeating. Schedule 1 talks about the union and its territory, name of the states, territory of the states, number of states. All the discussion has been mentioned in the Schedule 1. Schedule 2 talks about salaries, allowance, and expenses of the constitutional post. Schedule 3 talks about oath, affirmation about the constitutional post. Schedule 4 talks about representation of Council of States in the representation of states in the, representation of in Constitution Council of States. Now, Schedule 5 talks about Schedule 5 and Schedule 6 both talks about the tribal areas. Schedule 7 talks about the list of matters has been mentioned on which union state and both can be run. Schedule 8 talks about list of Schedule 8 talks about language of union. Schedule 9 talks about and list of law, and Schedule 10 talks about anti-defection law. Schedule 11 and Schedule 12 both talks about the functions assigned by panchayats and the municipalities by the state. Now let's discuss on. Now we have discussed all the schedule which has been mentioned in the Constitution of India. Now let's discuss on the where we are now. We have discussed Article 1 talks about name and territory of states, that the name of the India is the India or Bharat. Now, in basically we have also discussed that India's federalism is holding together federalism, that is first constitutional has been made, and according to constitutionals various states has been derived. Unlike USA, where states has come together, then they have made their constitution. So basically, state in the constitution in the USA have more power, Unlike in in India, states does not have more power than Constitution of India. It's basically clear. Now, Article 1 Clause 2 talks about Article 1 Clause 2 talks about the state. Article 1 Clause 2 talks about the Schedule 1, where the list and territory of the states has been mentioned in the Schedule 1. Now, we have discussed now Article 1 Clause 3. We have discussed right now this. Now discuss Article 1 Clause. So Article 1 Clause 3 talks about, let's discuss, the territory of India shall comprises the territory of the state, the union territories specified in the first schedule, such other territories as may be required. So basically Article 1 Clause 3 talks about territory of India, that is territory of states, union territory, and acquired territory mentioned in schedule. That's Article 1 Clause 3 talks about. Now let's discuss first Article 3, then we come Article 2. So Article 3 tells about formation of new states and alteration of areas, boundaries or names of existing states. So basically Article 3 talks about to change or to change the change alter the administration setup in India. So that is Parliament by law can reorganize the territory of India, that is can create new states by separation of territory of states, joining two states, or adding territory of another states in another states to one state, etc. Whatever be the possibilities. So basically union can, by the law of parliament, can do whatever they want. They can alter the boundary of the states, they can change the name of the states, they can do whatever they want. Basically they can completely merge two states in one state. They can separate the one states into two states. They can take half part of one state and merge into another state. They can do whatever they want. According to Article 3, they can do whatever they want. So therefore Andhra Pradesh reorganization bill. According to this bill, the Telangana has been introduced in the India. Now, what is the provisions? How we can make the uh, new states, can alter the boundary of the states? What the provisions we need, do we need to alter the Constitution of India? Now, first discuss what is the procedure. Now discuss procedure followed to alter the states. So now, so the procedure is as mentioned that first government will draft the bill, and this bill will go to President of India, and then President of India will give the presidential reference to the states for taking the opinion of the states. Basically, let's discuss these provisions in the detail. Let's suppose we want to alter the states of one state into two states. So now what we will do? First, law bill will be introduced. Bill will introduced either in the Lok Sabha or in the Rajya Sabha. No matter, this bill will be introduced either in Lok Sabha or Rajya Sabha. Then it will go to Rajya Sabha and Lok Sabha. Then it will go to President. Now, if in the general case, if that procedure has been followed. Now, in this case, President will give its presidential reference. Will ask presidential reference to the concerned states. बेसिकली प्रेसिडेंट जो है एक प्रेसिडेंशियल रेफरेंस भेजेंगे कंसर्न स्टेट के पास फॉर टेकिंग इट्स ओपिनियन, फॉर ओपिनियन। अब हो सकता है कि भाई स्टेट ओपिनियन ना दे, हो सकता है स्टेट ओपिनियन दे। अगर स्टेट ओपिनियन नहीं देता है तो ऑटोमेटिकली वो बिल प्रेसिडेंट आगे फॉरवर्ड कर देगा। अगर प्रेसिडेंट ओपिनियन दे देता है तो वो बिल, जैसे कि मान लो हो सकता है इसमें दो केस है, या तो स्टेट डिड नॉट गिव ओपिनियन एंड गेव ओपिनियन। ना, अगर ओपिनियन नहीं देता है तो इसका मतलब कोई ऐसा मैंडेटरी प्रोविजन नहीं कि तुम ओपिनियन नहीं दोगे तो अपन ये बिल पास नहीं कर सकते। केवल ये रिकमेंडेशन है, तुम रिकमेंडेशन दो अन्यथा ना दो, करूंगा मैं वही जो मैं चाहता हूँ। तो इसका बेसिकली स्टेट्स के पास कोई ऐसी पावर नहीं है जो भी कुछ अपनी रिकमेंडेशन से कुछ ऐड भी करते हैं। तो डिड नॉट गिव ओपिनियन देन नो इफेक्ट। सो स्टेट्स विल बाईपास दी president will bypass the law. So bypass the law. अगर इसने ओपिनियन गिवन, अगर इसने ओपिनियन दिया तो ये फिर ओपिनियन अगेन जाएगी पार्लियामेंट में, और पार्लियामेंट अगेन इसको पास करेगा सेम प्रोसीजर से, लेजिस्लेचर से, और अगेन राज्यसभा से लेजिस्लेचर से, और फिर ये अगेन जाएगी प्रेसिडेंट के पास, और प्रेसिडेंट के पास अगेन जाने के बाद ये जो है प्रेसिडेंट इस पे कंसर्न देगा और स्टेट रीऑर्गेनाइज हो जाएगा। लेकिन सवाल ये उठता है कि भाई ये जो रिकमेंडेशन दी है ये अगर पार्लियामेंट अडॉप्ट ना करे तो कोई दिक्कत नहीं, ये केवल और केवल रिकमेंडेशन है। ये पार्लियामेंट के ऊपर डिपेंड करता है कि वो इस रिकमेंडेशन को अडॉप्ट करता है कि नहीं करता है। अगर अडॉप्ट करता है तो ठीक है, अगर अडॉप्ट नहीं करता है तो ऐसा कोई बाइंडिंग प्रोविजंस नहीं है जिससे स्टेट्स कुछ आर्ग्यू कर पाए पार्लियामेंट के ऊपर। ये बात याद रखो। अच्छा, इसके लिए मेजोरिटी कौन सी चाहिए रहती है? तो ये जो बिल पास होता है ये इट कैन बी पास्ड बाय द सिंपल मेजोरिटी। बेसिकली in this provision it to have amended the constitution of India. How? Because you are amending the constitution of India, that you have to add the provisions in the schedule 1. So you need to amend the constitution, so therefore you need to approve it by the simple majority, not by the special majority. I have discussed earlier, for the changing of the Constitution of India, you need to amend the Constitution by the provisions mentioned in Article 368. That is, you have to fulfill the criteria of special majority for the changement of the Constitution of India. But in this provision, you need not to go with the special majority provisions, because in this you are simply bypassing the ordinary law and make and change in the schedule 1, that is it's schedule 1, then it's okay for the changement of the alteration of the states. Now that's the basically provision of the end. Now in states this procedure will be followed for alteration of the states. Now in the case of UT, in the case of state, this provision will be followed, but in the case of UT, there is no need to follow this procedure by only the president, by only the presidential order. It can be done directly. So basically, for UT, you don't need to take even a recommendation of that state. That is, now what is the procedure? Bill introduced, Rajya Sabha, Lok Sabha, goes to Lok Sabha, Rajya Sabha by the simple majority, goes to President, and President will give his assent, and alteration of UT will happen. So you don't need to take permission, even recommendation of the UTs. So that's the difference for the UT. So in the case of states, at least you have to take the opinion of states, but this opinion is not binding on the state. It's very clear to you. Now let's discuss about the Article 2 of the Constitution of India. Now we have discussed Article 1, Article 2, Article 3, and now we will discuss about the Article 1 of the Constitution of India. So before discussing Article 2, let's first read about the Article 4 of the Constitution of India. So what's the Article 4 says? Article 4 says laws made under Article 2 and Article 3 to provide for the amendment of the first and the fourth schedule and supplemental incidental and consequences letter. So basically Article 4 says that, what is the Article 4 says? Article 4 says that any law made under Article 2 and 3, बेसिकली आर्टिकल 2 एंड 3 लॉ का मतलब क्या है कि भाई कोई भी अल्टरेशन आर्टिकल 2 और आर्टिकल 3 के लिए के अनुसार किया जाता है, या आर्टिकल 2 या आर्टिकल 3 को इम्प्लीमेंट देने के लिए, या कोई भी अल्टरेशन के इम्प्लीमेंट देने के लिए कोई भी अगर बिल इंट्रोड्यूस किया जाता है तो उसके लिए for the 2 and 3 can be amend the provision of Constitution of India, including Schedule 1 and Schedule 4. But such law shall not be considered such law cannot be considered under Article 368, that is, it will be considered as we discussed ordinary. Therefore, pass by simple majority. As we have discussed earlier, for the alteration of the states, you don't need to go with the provisions amendment by the Article 368. You have to simply pass the ordinary law and you can amend the Schedule 1, because Schedule 1 is not the part of the Constitution of India. So there you need not to amend the Constitution of India. But for this, you require to fulfill by this by the ordinary law by the passing the uh, simple majority, and you have to change the Schedule 1 and Schedule 2. You don't go with the Article 368 provisions. Now, let's discuss about the Article 2 of the Constitution of India. So, Article 2 is not very, because it's had been introduced for the uh, inclusion of the Sikkim, so there is no need to read it in detail, but we will discuss. So Article 2 says that admission or establishment of new state. So Article 2, what's Article 2 says? Article 2. Article 2 says Parliament by law can admit a state under Indian Union or admit a territory which is not a part of India, which is not a part of India in Union of India. So basically, Article 2 says that Parliament by law can include the territory of India, can include the state in the territory of India, and even a part of territory which is not a part of Indian Union can be included in the territory of India by the parliamentary law. That's the Article 1 to 4 says about it. Now, as we have discussed Article 1 to 4, so Article 1 says about union and name and territory of states. Basically, the name is India and Bharat, and it also tells about that India is the union of states that is holding together states. Basically, means that first constitution exists and then states come and exist. According by the constitution, the states has come into existence. Now, Article 1 clause 2 says about the name and territory of the states has been mentioned in the Schedule 1, and Article 2 says about, now we have discussed, so Article 2 says about Parliament by law can join the territory of foreign states and can join the admit the territory of foreign states into Union of India. Article 3 says about Parliament by law can alter the boundary, can change the name, and can do whatever they want with respect to states. And for it, for the states, they follow some procedures. They have to pass the bill by the simple majority and seek the opinion of the states. But this opinion is not binding on the parliament, and for the UT, they don't even take opinion of the UT. That's the Article 3 says about. Article 4 says about uh, Article 4 says about for the alteration of the boundaries and for the inclusion of the territory of India and into Union of India, for the inclusion of foreign states into territory of India. You don't go with the by amendment of the Constitution of India under Article 368 clause 2, because you have to only change the Schedule 1 of the Constitution of India, so therefore you need only ordinary law, not the constitutional law. Therefore, you have to pass it by the simple majority, not by the special majority. It has been clear to you, I think. Now, let's discuss about reorganization of state. Let's give the heading: reorganization of state. So एट जब अपना इंडिया इंडिपेंडेंस हुआ था, तो इंडिया के इंडिपेंडेंस के टाइम पे जो अपन की इंडिया है वो 4 पार्ट्स में डिवाइडेड थी: पार्ट ए, पार्ट बी, पार्ट सी, पार्ट डी। सो एट द टाइम ऑफ इंडिपेंडेंस, सबसे पहले इंडिपेंडेंस के टाइम पे देख लेंगे। एट टाइम ऑफ इंडिपेंडेंस इंडिया is divided into part A, part B, पार्ट सी, पार्ट ए कौन कौन, पार्ट ए में कौन कौन आते थे? जो प्रोविंसेस थे ब्रिटिश के, तो ब्रिटिश प्रोविंसेस। पार्ट बी में क्या आते थे? प्रिंसली स्टेट्स। पार्ट सी में क्या आते थे? कमिश्नरेट स्टेट्स। एंड पार्ट डी में क्या आते थे? अंडमान एंड निकोबार आइलैंड। तो ये इंडिपेंडेंस के टाइम का ये प्रोसीजर हुआ करता था ना। अब इंडिया इंडिपेंडेंस हो गया तो उसका रीऑर्गेनाइजेशन करवाना था, तो उसके लिए गवर्नमेंट ने क्या बताया कि भाई एक कमेटी बनाई, एसके धार कमेटी। एसके धार कमेटी बनाई किसके लिए, क्या ऑब्जेक्टिव था इस कमेटी का? इसका ऑब्जेक्टिव था स्टडी हाउ टू रीऑर्गेनाइज स्टेट। लेकिन इसका रिजल्ट क्या आया? इस कमेटी का जो रिजल्ट आया वो रिजेक्टेड हो गया। क्यों भाई रिजेक्टेड क्यों हो गया? रिजेक्टेड इसलिए हो गया बिकॉज स्टेट has been, for according to this committee, the state has been divided for the convenience of the administrative purpose. So basically, and the state has been divided on the basis of language, because state organized on basis of language. So basically, Eskadar committee said states should be made on the basis of language. Therefore, it has been rejected. Why it has been rejected? Because it is considered as this. It can lead to secessionist tendency and it can overlap the minority. It can consume the minority of the sections. Um, it can also lead to the dominance of the minority in the local languages. Basically, there are 2200 languages are spoken. Officially, there are 22 languages, but if you will divide the state on the basis of language, then basically you are not considering those languages which has been surviving on the last stage. So basically you are neglecting them. So on the basis of language, the Eskadar committee has been recognized that the state should be organized on the basis of language. But this recommendation has been rejected by the government, and now another committee has been formed to again examine the reorganization of state, and this committee is known as, again ये तो फर्स्ट कमेटी बनी, सेकंड अगेन गवर्नमेंट कमेटी बनाई, उस कमेटी का नाम था जेवीपी कमेटी। सो अगेन जेवीपी कमेटी हैज बीन फॉर्म्ड बिकॉज, तो जेवीपी कमेटी ने अगेन सेम रिकमेंडेशन दी कि भाई इसका भी एड्रेस क्या था, इसका भी ऑब्जेक्टिव क्या था? टू एड्रेस प्रॉब्लम्स इन एसके धार कमेटी एंड गिव रिकमेंडेशन। इसका रिजल्ट क्या है? इट ऑल्सो रिजेक्टेड because they have also proposed the same idea that India should be divided according to the language, not according to the language of the local language, basically Kannada for Kannada, Karnataka people, Tamil for Tamil for Tamil Nadu for Tamil speaking people, or um, basically Marathi for Maharashtra people, Bengali for Bengali people. So the states has been divided on the basis of language. So now, in the mean period of time, it also rejected. But in the meantime, In the meantime, O.T. Ramondo died. Who is their personality? Basically, he is demanding to create the state on the basis of law, on the basis of language, on the basis of language, and this person has been died. So the huge violence coming the force and huge protest has been taken away. So therefore, government has been pressurized to make the state on the basis of language. So therefore, first linguistic state has been set up. First linguistic state has been set up, that is Andhra. Now, again further committee has been made, again examined to give the recommendation. Again one committee has been set up, Fazal Ali Commission. And this objective is the same, to examine the drawback of the CVP committee, to examine the drawback of the Eskandar committee, and also to give the recommendation on what basis we should make the uh, state. But the government has created its own fault. Basically, they have created the Andhra on the basis of language, so other states also demanded to create their status to create their states on the basis of language. So by default of government, the, the whatever is going to be happen is already decided. So basically, its objective is the same, to address all issues of state formation and give solution. इसका रिजल्ट क्या है? Broadly accepted by गवर्नमेंट. इन्होंने रिकमेंडेशन क्या दी? इन्होंने रिकमेंडेशन दी, सबसे पहली रिकमेंडेशन क्या दी कि पहले तो इनकी रिकमेंडेशन क्या थी? फर्स्ट रिकमेंडेशन कि सबसे पहले जो ये क्राइटेरिया अपन का स्टेट्स का पार्ट ए, पार्ट बी, पार्ट सी, पार्ट डी वाला है, इसको रिमूव करो. तो रिमूव मेथड ऑफ पार्ट ए, बी, सी, डी मेथड्स. अच्छा, दूसरा इन्होंने क्या रिकमेंडेशन दी? दूसरी इन्होंने रिकमेंडेशन दी कि जो स्टेट्स है वो it should be divided, states should be divided on basis of first administrative criteria, second economic efficiency, third cultural homogeneity, and unity and integrity. So basically, according to Fazal Ali Commission, the four criteria has been set up according to which states should be reorganized. Now, it has been done by the Fazal Ali Commission. So now government introduced 7th Constitutional Amendment Act, and that is State Reorganization Act. State Reorganization Act has been passed. Act has been passed and created multiple states. Clear? Now, let's discuss about various changement, various alteration in the boundary of the states. So now let's discuss. It may be helpful, it can be asked in the prelims examination. So now let's discuss. In 1957, Naga Hills were created. Naga Hills carved out of Assam in 1968. Gujarat and Maharashtra carved out of Bombay. And in 1961, Goa joined India. In 1963, Nagaland got full state. Basically, these are the basic criteria. Now you can check it by your own, whatever the criteria and how the state has been reorganized and the various form of the government act. Now let's discuss argument of smaller states in India. ऐसे फेवर में बात करते हैं सबसे पहले तो अगर कोई स्मॉलर स्टेट्स बनता है तो सबसे पहले उसकी अकाउंटेबिलिटी इंक्रीज हो जाती है बेसिकली फेवर की अगर बात करें अकाउंटेबिलिटी एंड रिस्पॉन्सिबिलिटी इंक्रीजेस। सेकंड क्या होता है? सेकंड ये होता है कि स्मॉल स्टेट जो होते हैं वो ग्रो फास्ट करते हैं, उनका डेवलपमेंट जल्दी होता है, इकोनॉमिकल डेवलपमेंट, पॉलिटिकल डेवलपमेंट, सोसाइटी डेवलपमेंट बहुत फास्ट होता है अगर छोटा स्टेट फोकस एरिया कम रहता है तो इकोनॉमिक डेवलपमेंट बहुत इजीली हो जाता है। थर्ड क्या है? थर्ड ये है कि रिजॉल्व प्रॉब्लम्स और लिंग्विस्टिक सेपरेशन। अच्छा, इसके कॉन्ट्रास्ट अगेंस्ट में अगर अपन बात करें तो इसका अपन अगर सेपरेट स्टेट्स बनाते हैं तो एडमिनिस्ट्रेशन कॉस्ट बढ़ जाती है क्योंकि फिर मशीनरी सेटअप करनी पड़ती है पूरी कि भाई इस स्टेट्स के लिए अलग मशीनरी सेटअप करो, फिर पार्लियामेंट में सीट्स दो और वेरियस मशीनरी सेटअप करो, रिक्रूटमेंट करो, सब मशीन इनका कॉस्ट बढ़ जाता है। सेकंड क्या है? सेकंड ये डिस्प्यूट्स अराइजेस। एग्जांपल इंटर वाटर डिस्प्यूट। Various disputes has been added for the on lack of coordination, etc. These are the basically the problems which has been created by making the states into smaller states. Now, let's discuss about the part 3. Now we have covered about the part 1 of the Constitution of India, that is the Article 1 to 4. We have discussed how the state has been reorganized, how what is the Article 1 says about, what is the Article 2 says about, what is the Article 3 says about, what is the Article 4 says about, and we have also discussed how what is the argument, what is the uh, benefits and disadvantages for creating the states into smaller states. Basically, if you create the smaller states, then its accountability will be increased, its political sphere will be increased, economically sphere will be increased, social welfare will be increased, and it also resolve the dispute of the linguistic minority criteria, and it also grow fast. Now, for making, but there is also a disadvantage for this. So the disadvantage, like it creates the administrative cost, it creates the disputes between the states, that is the interwater dispute, and it also creates the lack of coordination between the states. Basically, if you create multiple states, then it will arise the arise the coordination disputes between the various states. Now let's discuss about the part 3 of the Constitution of India. We have also discussed about the Fazal Ali Commission, JVP Commission, and we have also discussed about the SK Dhar Committee. Basically, for the reorganization of states, the government formed the SK Dhar Committee. According to SK Dhar Committee, the objective is that to examine how to create the states, how to create, how should be India should be reorganized. So therefore, Eskadar committee recommended that India should be divided on the basis of linguistic criteria, but it cannot be done, it cannot be accepted. So therefore, it has been rejected. Now, because it can lead to secessionist tendency, it can lead to dominance of one language to another language, it can lead to discrimination of minority language, it can lead to discrimination of marginalized section. It can also lead to the uh, it can also lead to the supremacy of one language over the other language. It can also lead to the uh, discrimination. It can also lead to the pride on their own language. It is very helpful, but there is a many disadvantages. So therefore, government has rejected this criteria. But then after Eskadar, then after JVP committee has been set up to again re-examine the problems of the Eskadar committee, we also recommended the same criteria that it should be based on the linguistic criteria, and also recommended some aspect also, that is it should be also involved economic criteria, social criteria, political criteria, and also geographical criteria. But the government also not satisfied with that, so therefore they create. But in the meantime, one dominant personality in the Andhra has been died because he demanding to create the Andhra on the basis of Andhra speaking people, Andhra's people who is speaking their own language, but he died. So the Andhra states has been created. So for making the example, the other states also demanded to create their own states on the basis of language. So the again committee has been set up. The name of the committee is Fazal Ali Ayog committee. They recommended, and the major recommendation has been accepted by the government. They recommended that the states should be divided on the basis of language, on the basis of cultural, on the basis of homogeneity, on the basis of unity and integrity, on the basis of politically dominance, on the basis of economically dominance. So they recommended some rules, and broadly they have accepted by the government. Now, again, we have discussed all the provisions of the part 1 of the Constitution of India. Now, let's discuss about the part 3rd of the Constitution of India before going to part 2 of the Constitution of India. So now, we have discussed part 1 of the Constitution of India. Now, let's discuss about the part 3 of the Constitution of India. Before going to part 2, first we will discuss about the part 3 of the Constitution of India. So, part basically it deal with fundamental right. Article 12 to 35 has been mentioned in the part 3 of the Constitution of India. Now, first we will know what is the fundamental right, then we will discuss another provisions. Now, so now we are going to discuss the fundamental right. So before discussing, first we should know how many types of right there are in our society. So what do you mean by first right? Right is basically reasonable claims which broadly accepted by society. These are the basically rights. So basically right, you are reasonably claiming on such particular issues, but it should be adopted by the society. It's not going to be that I will take this and it has been not adopted by the society, so it's not going to be a right. Now लेट्स डिस्कस टाइप ऑफ राइट। भैया कितने प्रकार के राइट होते हैं पहले ये समझ लें। तो पहला तो होता है नेचुरल राइट्स, जो कि भाई अपन को बाय बर्थ मिला है। किससे? बाय नेचर। बाय नेचर वी हैव गॉट द राइट, दैट इज टू टेक, सांस लेना और खाना खाना, घूमना जाना, इधर जाना उधर जाना, ये सब राइट अपन को बाय बर्थ मिले, तो इनको तो कोई लिमिटेशन है नहीं। तो बाय बर्थ। सेकंड राइट आता है भाई, फर्स्ट राइट ये हो गया। सेकंड राइट आता है कि भाई स्टेटूटरी राइट कौन से, जिनको अपन बोलते हैं लीगल राइट। सो बेसिकली ये राइट कौन से है, तो अपन ने बोला कि पार्लियामेंट के पास दो प्रकार की पावर होती है। कौन कौन सी पावर होती है? एक तो वो कॉन्स्टिट्यूशनल पावर होती है जिसमें वो कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन को बनाते हैं, दूसरे उनके पास ऑर्डिनरी पावर होती है जो ऑर्डिनरी लॉ को बनाते हैं। तो जो पावर उनको ऑर्डिनरी लॉ से मिली है, तो बेसिकली राइट ऑफ इंडिविजुअल given by ordinary law, not by constitution. That is एग्जाम्पल की अगर अपन बात करें तो राइट टू वर्क इन दी मनरेगा। बेसिकली मनरेगा एक पॉलिसी सरकार की, जो कि एक ऑर्डिनरी लॉ के तहत बनाई गई थी। उसमें काम करना ये अधिकार है, लीगल अधिकार है, लेकिन ये संवैधानिक अधिकार नहीं, मतलब ये कॉन्स्टिट्यूशनल राइट नहीं है, ये लीगल राइट है, स्टेटूटरी राइट है आपके पास। हाँ आपको काम मिलेगा, लेकिन ये आप you can claim but you cannot approach the court on the violation of these rights. So basically it is given by the statutory law, that is it is given by the parliament, it is given by parliament, not by constitution of India. क्लियर होगा? सेकंड, सो अगर ये पार्लियामेंट ने गिवन है तो पार्लियामेंट इसको ले भी सकती है, देयरफॉर इट कैन आल्सो टेक अनदर, देयरफॉर इट कैन आल्सो टेक अनदर। कल को अगर आपसे बोले गवर्नमेंट के भाई आपको मनरेगा में काम नहीं करना है तो आप नहीं कर पाओगे। कल को अगर मनरेगा में काम करने के लिए आपको मना करते हैं तो आप कुछ नहीं कर पाओगे। क्लियर है ये बात? तो ये लीगल राइट है, क्योंकि ये राइट पार्लियामेंट ने आपको दिया है, ये राइट लॉ के अनुसार मिला है आपको, क्योंकि पार्लियामेंट्री लॉ है, क्योंकि स्टेटरी लॉ है, जो कि लीगल राइट है आपके पास। क्लियर है? अच्छा, थर्ड राइट कौन से होते हैं? जैसे कि इसका अगर एग्जांपल हो गया राइट टू इंफॉर्मेशन, आरटीआई। आरटीआई भी एक लीगल राइट है, ये कॉन्स्टिट्यूशनल राइट नहीं है, ये एक लीगल राइट है। जब ये लीगल राइट है तो आपके पास इसके लिए प्रोविजंस तो हैं, लेकिन आप इसके वायलेशन पे सुप्रीम कोर्ट हाई कोर्ट नहीं जा सकते, क्योंकि ये कॉन्स्टिट्यूशनल राइट नहीं है, ये फंडामेंटल राइट नहीं है। अगला आता है फंडामेंटल राइट। फंडामेंटल राइट्स क्या है? जो कि पार्ट 3 में मेंशन है इन द कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन ऑफ इंडिया, मेंशन इन पार्ट 3 of the constitution. ये basically if there is a violation of your fundamental right, then you can approach the Supreme Court directly. So basically on the violation, you can approach Supreme Court, High Court directly under Article 32 and 226 of the Constitution of India. Now there is one another right, that is constitutional right. अच्छा, फंडामेंटल राइट भी तो कॉन्स्टिट्यूशनल राइट है, हाँ है, लेकिन फंडामेंटल राइट के साथ एक रिस्पॉन्सिबिलिटी सुप्रीम कोर्ट या हाई कोर्ट की भी आती है कि अगर आपका कोई फंडामेंटल राइट वायलेट कर रहा है तो आप डायरेक्टली सुप्रीम कोर्ट और हाई कोर्ट जा सकते हैं। लेकिन कॉन्स्टिट्यूशनल राइट वो राइट है जो कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन में तो मेंशन है, लेकिन वो फंडामेंटल राइट नहीं। जैसे कि आर्टिकल फंडा एक्सेप्ट fundamental right, all right mentioned in the constitution is known as the constitutional right. So basically right mentioned in constitution except fundamental right. So basically these are also enforceable, but you cannot approach the Supreme Court directly for the constitutional right, but you can approach the Supreme Court and High Court for enforcing the fundamental right. Is that clear to you? एग्जाम्पल के तौर पर अगर बात करें कॉन्स्टिट्यूशनल राइट की, राइट टू प्रॉपर्टी, राइट टू प्रॉपर्टी एक फंडामेंटल राइट नहीं है, वो कॉन्स्टिट्यूशनल राइट है। इसके लिए आप इसके लिए आप यू कांट अप्रोच द सुप्रीम कोर्ट बाय द वायलेशन ऑफ दिस राइट डायरेक्टली। यू कांट अप्रोच द सुप्रीम कोर्ट डायरेक्टली। क्लियर है ये बात? तो यहाँ तक उम्मीद है कोई दर्द नहीं होगा। हाँ, तो इतनी बात क्लियर। ये 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 चार राइट्स अपन ने पढ़ लिए। पहला नेचुरल राइट जो कि अपने को बाय बर्थ मिलता है। सेकंड स्टेटरी राइट जो लीगल राइट हो, जो कि पार्लियामेंट्री लॉ से मिलती है अपन को, और अगर ये पार्लियामेंट्री लॉ से मिलती है तो पार्लियामेंट जब चाहे इसको हटा भी सकती है। थर्ड है कॉन्स्टिट्यूशनल राइट, जो कि कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन जो राइट कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन में मेंशन्ड है, और इन राइट को तभी हटाया जा सकता है जब कॉन्स्टिट्यूशनल अमेंडमेंट होगा, तभी ये राइट हट सकते हैं। और फंडामेंटल राइट भी कॉन्स्टिट्यूशनल राइट है, लेकिन वो एक स्पेसिफिक राइट्स गिवन है, उनके लिए स्पेसिफिक प्रोविजंस गिवन है कि अगर इनका वायलेशन होता है तो आप डायरेक्टली सुप्रीम कोर्ट और हाई कोर्ट मान सकते हैं, जो कि पार्ट 3 में मेंशन है। तो ये अपन के चार राइट्स क्लियर है। आगे बढ़ते हैं। अब आ जाते हैं आर्टिकल 12 क्या कहता है। नाउ लेट अस डिस्कस आर्टिकल 12 ऑफ द कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन ऑफ इंडिया। है ना? आर्टिकल 12 क्या कह रहा है, पहले एक बार ये पढ़ लेते हैं। आर्टिकल 12 क्या कहते हैं? आर्टिकल 12 says that it provides the definition of the states. So basically, Article 12 provides definition of state for पार्ट 3। तो स्टेट की डेफिनेशन बता रहा है, जो कि पार्ट 3 में जहाँ जहाँ स्टेट यूज होगा उस स्टेट की डेफिनेशन बता रहा है। तो क्या कह रहा है? इन दिस पार्ट अनलेस द context otherwise requires, the state include government. Basically it includes government, it includes parliament, it includes government of state, it includes legislature of state, and it also includes local and other authorities, local authorities, and other authorities. So these are the basically government, parliament, government of states, legislature of states, local authorities, other authorities. Now, what do we mean by local authorities and what do we mean by other authorities? Now we have to discuss on that. Basically, local authorities within the territory of India. Territory of India. Now, let's discuss about the local authorities. What do we mean by local authorities? And then we will discuss what do we mean by other authorities. Okay. Now, let's discuss about them. So we know government, we know parliament, we know government of states, we know legislature of states. Basically, we know, but we don't have clear clarity about the local authorities. We don't have clear clarity about the other authorities. So now first discuss about the local authorities, then we will discuss about the other authorities. So first discuss about the local authorities. Now, the Constitution of India does not provide the definition of local authorities, but in the General Clause Act 1897, according to General Clause 1597, where the definition of local authorities has been provided. So, according to local authorities, it includes municipal committee, district board, or other authority legally entitled to or interested by government with the control or management of fund local fund. So basically local authority includes municipal committees, district board, and other authorities which manages local fund, which have management authority, which have uh, government authority, which have local government authority, like as panchayati Raj institutions. These are includes local authorities. But what we mean by other authorities? So we have discussed what is the meaning of local authority. Now let's discuss about the other authorities. So again, for the other authority, we will discuss about the General Clause Act 1597, where also other authorities definition has been provided. So for these definitions, initially the authority that, according to General Clause Act, authority that act government-like function, is known as other authority. Clearing, but in case University of Madras versus Santali, Supreme Court said that university is not other authority. Why? Because it established by parliamentary, not is the other authority. So for this letter, this has been challenged again in the Supreme Court. So in the case of now, this has been challenged. Therefore, in University of Madras versus, sorry, this is challenging Mohanlal versus electricity board. Therefore, in Supreme Court stated in this, Supreme Court said other authority is all authority created by constitution or law, those authority which given power and authority authority which got power by law is known as authority. Clear? तो इस केस में, मोहनलाल केस में सुप्रीम कोर्ट ने जजमेंट को एक्सपेंड किया और कहा कि भाई लोकल जो अदर अथॉरिटीज भी हैं वो जो पार्लियामेंट्री लॉ से बनी है वो भी इंक्लूड होंगे, जो पार्लियामेंट्री से पावर गेन किया है वो भी अदर अथॉरिटी भी इंक्लूड. एंड सुप्रीम कोर्ट ऑल्सो सेड दैट they also said Supreme Court will decide in each matter whether this is other authority or not. Basically, Supreme Court set up test of instrumentality. That is, on the basis of case by case, Supreme Court will decide the definition of other states. Now, we have discussed the definition of states. Now, first main things we have left out. What about the judiciary? Is judiciary also a state? That is the question which has been raised in the parliament. So basically, judiciary functions, two type of functions. One function is performed is judgmental functions, and the other functions they perform administrative functions. So when judiciary performs its administrative functions, then it is known as the state. But when judiciary performs its judicial functions, then it is not considered as the state, because if judiciary give its judgment which is against you, then you will again reach the Supreme Court, and you will again say that Supreme Court is also a state. Then how can they breach my fundamental right? So basically, when the judiciary performing its judicial functions, then this will not be considered as the state. So then this will not be the state. Now I think it will be clear to you. Now let's discuss about the Article 30. What the Article 30 says. So we have discussed the definition of the states. Basically, states includes government, legislature, parliament, state government, state legislature, local authority, basically municipalities, district board, panchayati raj institutions, other authority, which also includes which performs government-like functions or got the power from the parliament or the legislature, or perform or manage the fund of the local authority, or manage the fund which has been given by the state fund. and also which performs government-like function, but also in the Mohanlal case, Supreme Court stated that it will also on the case by case basis, it will also check whether this authority is the other authority or not. Basically, Supreme Court set up test of instrumentality that whether such authority is other authority or not. Let's discuss about the Article 13 clause 2. So we have discussed many provisions currently right now. Now let's discuss about Article 13. We have discussed about the Article 12 of the Constitution of India. Now discuss about the Article 13. What the Article 13 says. Article 13 says laws inconsistent with or in derogation of the fundamental right. Okay,